Alright guys, so now we're gonna talk about discrete and continuous. Here again, once we connect our data to Tableau, Tableau gonna analyze our data in order to make assumptions where it's gonna map each field to either discrete or continuous. Discrete and continuous are metadata informations that's gonna impact on what type of visualizations that you can create as well as how they will look like. So now in order to understand the concept behind them, we're gonna compare both discrete and continuous. And first we're gonna start with the definition. So this concept comes from math and they say discrete values are always separated, disconnected, distinct values. And continuous values are exactly the opposite. It's like connected value, a series or unbroken chain of data without any interruptions. So let's have an example. Think of discrete as you are counting from 0 to 10. So you start with 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So that means between 0 and 10 we have exactly 11 distinct values. But with the continuous values we have like real numbers, which means between 0 and 10 we have infinite number of real numbers. So for example we have 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 and so on. So with discrete we have distinct values, and with continuous we have a range of infinite values between start and end. Once I read about the discrete and continuous, and the following analogy stick in my head. Think about the discrete values as a Lego pieces. So you can take them apart and you can work with each piece differently and independently. So you can move them around and analyze them in different orders. And now think of continuous as a roll of yarn. And now when you unroll the yarn, you will not get different pieces, you will just see more of the yarn. So you will just get a longer piece of the same string. Alright, so discrete values are separated, distinct values, and continuous values are unbroken chain of data without any interruptions. Alright, so now let's move to the next point. We have the colors. In Tableau, the discrete fields are the blue pills, and the continuous fields are the green pills. So let's see in Tableau what this means. Alright, so now as usual the first question is, how do I know whether my fields are discrete or continuous? Well, it's like the dimensions and measures. We cannot check that at the data source page. We have to switch to the worksheet page. So let's do that. We're gonna go over here. And now it's really easy. So now as you hover your mouse on those fields, you will see we have only two colors, the blue and the green. And you can see those colors as well on the data type icons. So we have icons with green and icons with blue. The fields with the blue color, like for example, the customer ID, first name, order date and so on, those fields are discrete fields. And the fields with the green color, like discount, sales, unit price, score and so on, those fields are the continuous fields. And here exactly comes the confusion where a lot of Tableau developers think that the blue indicates for dimensions and the green indicates for measures. Well, that's wrong. Those colors to indicate whether it's discrete and continuous. So now you know that. So let's start with the first one, where we're gonna change the role of field globally for the whole workbook. So in order to do that, we're gonna go to the data pane on the left side. And as you can see here, for example, the sales in the orders is green pill. That means it's continuous field. And as well, it is a measure. So let's say that we want now to switch it to a discrete field. So in order to do that, right click on the field and here we have convert to discrete. It's really easy, so let's click on that. And now if you check again the sales, we have it now as a blue pill. So that means now it is a discrete field. So if you check the others, all of them are continuous measures, but only the sales is a discrete measure. And this change is done globally. So if you go to another sheet, the sales is gonna still as a discrete field. So now if you want to switch between discrete to continuous, all what you're gonna do is right click on it. And here we have again the same option. We're gonna convert it to continuous. So once we click that, it's gonna go back to the green pill. So that's it. It's really easy. Now we're gonna learn how to switch between discrete and continuous locally for only one view. Alright, so let's build a view. We're gonna drag and drop the sales on the columns. And let's take a dimension, for example, the category, drag and drop it on the row. And now we want to switch the sales from continuous to discrete only for this view. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the sales over here, right click on it, and as you can see, the current role is continuous as Tableau marked it for us here, or you can see it from the green pill. All what you have to do is to select discrete. So let's go and do that. And now the field sales is discrete for this view. As you can see, it's blue pill. But if you go to the data pane on the left side, the sales stays as continuous with the color of green. So that's how you can do it locally for only one view. So for example, if you go back to another worksheet and take the sales gonna be a continuous measure. So that's it. This is how you can switch between discrete and continuous fields locally for only one view. Alright, so now let's move to the next point. We have filters. In Tableau, the discrete field gonna create a filter with distinct values, but the continuous field gonna create a filter with range values. Alright, so now let's have an example in order to understand what I mean with those filters. And now we're gonna work with the big data source because we need more data in order to understand this. Alright, so now let's switch to the big data source. Just click on it, and then let's take the sales, drag and drop it over here, and then we're gonna take from the products the subcategory. So drag and drop it on the rows. So now we have the sales by the subcategory. And now if we want to go and filter those values, we can go and put the subcategory in the filters. And don't forget that the subcategory is a discrete field. So let's just drag and drop it on the filters and see what's gonna happen. And now in the new window, as you can see over here, Tableau listed all distinct values inside the subcategory. And now here with those discrete values, we can make decisions individually. So we can include some stuff and remove others. So let's just do that. I'm just doing this randomly and click OK. And that's it. This is how the filter in Tableau gonna react if we have a discrete field inside it. So we have a list of all distinct values, and we can show this filter on the right side if we just right click on the subcategory over here and then select show filter. So now we have it on the right side, and we can now include or exclude values. And now let's see what's gonna happen if we put on the filters a continuous field. So let's take the sales again, since it's continuous field, but instead of taking it from the left side here from the data pane, you can take it from the shelves by holding Alt and then drag and drop on the filters. So since it's continuous field and a measure, Tableau gonna ask us first, do we want to do the filter on all values or after we do the calculations? So let's go with the sum over here since we have it as a sum. So I'm just gonna click on the sum and go next. And this is exactly what's gonna happen if you have continuous field as a filter. You will get a range. It has a start and end. So you don't have like distinct values of all the sales. You will get a range of values and you have to define the start and the end. And here we have different options about the range, but we're gonna stay with the first one. So let's hit OK. And now I want to show the filter on the right side. So let's go over here, right click on show filter. And now on the right side, you can see exactly the difference between discrete and continuous fields in filters. So let me just extend it over here. You see the sales is continuous and we have a range. So we can filter like this by changing the start and the end of the range. But with the discrete filter, we have all members of the field and we can decide on each value individually. So we can just select and deselect those values. Alright, so now let's move to the next point. We're gonna talk about the changes in the view. Discrete fields create the headers of the visualizations, where the continuous fields create the axis of visualizations. Okay, so now let's see what this means in our view. As you can see, the subcategory is a discrete field and the sales is a continuous field. And in this view over here, we have three things. We have the marks, those bars, and on the left side, we have the subcategory and we call those informations as headers. And the third information, we have the axis of the view. So what is the difference between headers and axis? The discrete fields like subcategory always create the header of the view. And in the header over here, you have like a list of all distinct values inside our dataset, exactly as it is. But the continuous field like the sales create the axis of the visualization. And it's like the values inside the filter, it's a range that has a start and end. And unlike the headers, you cannot see in the axis all the possible values individually. So you have a range with start and ends, and in between we have pins. So discrete fields create the headers and continuous fields create the axes. Alright, so the next point we're gonna talk about sorting data. In discrete fields, we have many options in order to sort the data. But with the continuous fields in Tableau, it is very limited. So let's see an example. So we're gonna stay with the same example and we're gonna start with the discrete field subcategory. So in order to sort the data in the discrete field, just right click on the subcategory over here on the shelf or you can go to the header. It's exactly the same, so right click on the subcategory and then we can select over here the sort. So select that and now we have extra window to set up the sort. So as you can see here we have many different options like alphabetic, field, manual, and so on. So let's go with the manual over here. And here again, since subcategory is discrete fields, we're gonna get a list of all distinct values and then we can change the order. For example, by just clicking on the applications, we just can bring it down and we can take the storage and bring it up, blenders down, and so on. So we can do it manually without any rule. So as you can see, as I'm changing the values, their order in the visualization is as well changing. So if you want to sort the data, we're gonna use the discrete fields in order to do that, since we have many options. And now let's check the continuous fields. So I'm gonna close this. So now if you go to the continuous fields on the sales, right click on it, we don't have here an option to sort the data like in the discrete fields. But instead we have only one option. If you hover on the sales, we have this very small icon and we can use it in order to sort the data ascending or descending. So just click on that. And as you can see now, the data is sorted by descending values. And if you click on that again, you will get the data as ascending. So sorting the data using continuous field is very limited, but instead of that, we can use the discrete fields in order to sort the data, since we have many options. Okay, so now let's move to the next one, and this is really important to understand what is really the purpose of having continuous and discrete in Tableau. The main use case of using the discrete values is to do a deep dives analysis in specific scenario. And in the other hand, we're gonna use the continuous values to see the big picture and do trend analysis. Let's have an example. Now we're gonna create a new view using the big data source, since we have more data. And we're gonna go to the table orders. Let's take the order date. Just drag and drop it on the columns, and then we're gonna take one measure, let's say the quantity, drag and drop it on the rows. And now as you can see, the order date is a discrete field and we have 5 years of data. But now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the order date, right click on it, and we want to see more details. So just go to the exact date over here. And now as you can see, Tableau did convert it automatically from discrete to continuous value, and we have it as a green pill. And that's because we have a lot of order dates and Tableau tried to bring it all in one picture. And you can see now the order date created an axis with a range of dates. So having continuous fields, you have all the data in one big picture, and that's gonna help you to find any trend in your data. So now let's go and convert the order date to a discrete field. So in order to do that, we're gonna go to the order date, right click on it, and click on discrete. As you can see now, we just broke the chain and we broke the visualizations into individual dates. And now because of that, we have the header and we have all the distinct values inside our data. So we have all the days, all the months of the 5 years in one visual. So with that, having the order day as a discrete, we cannot really do any trend analysis over here because it's really huge visualization. So after we converted the order date from continuous to discrete, we lost the big picture and now it's really hard to do any trend analysis. But now instead of doing trend analysis, we can do now a deep dive details analysis for each individual date in order to analyze a specific problem or scenario, or to answer the question, why do we have in the first place a trend? So you can check the value of each date individually. And we usually use the bar visualizations for the discrete and the line visualizations for the continuous. So let's change that. I will go over here on the marks, and instead of automatic, I will move it to bar. So we have it now here as a bar, and I'm gonna just duplicate this sheet and bring the order date as a continuous, and then change the visualizations to automatic. And now I just moved both of the views into one dashboard in order to see the differences between continuous and discrete. So as you can see with the continuous, if you want to make like trend analysis, seeing the big picture, or you're gonna make like a report for the management without showing a lot of details, then go and use the continuous field. And now if you look at the visualizations with the discrete fields, you can use that if the task or the requirement is to do deep dive analysis in the data and evaluate each data individually. So the main purpose of having discrete is to do detailed analysis, where the purpose of continuous values is to do trend analysis. Alright, so now let's have a summary where we're gonna compare both of the discrete and continuous side by side in order to understand the differences between them. Let's start with the definitions. Discrete values are disconnected, separated values, and continuous values are connected, unbroken chain of values. For example, in discrete, between 0 and 10 we have finite number of values, we have exactly 11 values, and in continuous, between 1 and 2 we have infinite number of values. Next one is about the colors. Discrete fields are the blue pills and continuous fields are the green pills. Moving on to filters, discrete fields generate filters with a distinct list of all values available in the dataset. And in the other hand, the continuous fields generate a range filter that has start and end values. And next point is about the views. Discrete fields can generate the header of the view showing all possible values, and the continuous fields generate the axis of the view. Again, it's like a range of values. Then we have sorting. You can use discrete fields to sort your data using different options, but if you sort your data using continuous fields, you're gonna have very limited options. We have only ascending or descending. And finally, we're gonna talk about the purposes. The main purpose of the discrete is to analyze a specific scenario, like you are doing a deep dive analysis in a specific issue. But the main purpose of the continuous is to understand the big picture from the data in order to do, for example, trend analysis over your data. So these are the main differences between discrete and continuous fields. Alright, so that's all for the discrete and continuous, and next we will wrap things up with a summary and get better understanding of the big picture and the differences between all of these concepts. And if you like my content and you want to support the channel, then I really appreciate it if you support, like, and comment. This really gonna help the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.